the sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the Hardee year. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zone to go, football and cheers make our spirits roll. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. Enthralled and feel, radio diet band.
All right, and good evening to everybody here for the Blitz edition, the Southwest Florida edition of the Blitz. Good evening to everybody here. Josh Wilson here, along with Christopher Like. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing all right. It is hard to believe it's week one already here in the Sunshine State. The kickoff classes have come and gone here, and it's just really, really, just looking around at the Southwest Florida in particular here, Venice and Gadsden County played each other as we kind of just really, that was one of the games that we saw here that took place this past week. But again, just a lot that happened in the Kickoff Classics. Mother Nature had some impact in some parts of the state, but it really is interesting. But welcome everybody to the Blitz here. Josh Wilson, Christopher Like here, and if I can get the ticker to get going here, that'd be great. I don't know why it is not wanting to fire off here. I'll have to fire it off manually. There we go. Hopefully it'll kick off here in a moment. There we go. And we got it going here. So I don't know what happened there on the ticker there, but sometimes I had it set in the buttons, but everything. But I see the comments are firing off. I'm not sure why the YouTube comments are not showing up in the live chat, but Mark Cannon is in the Blitz. He's in watching here, and I see Emery Smith as well here on this, and we'll talk about his comment here as the Sunshine State Athletic Association got their season going last week in week 0. A few games there. But kind of preview here the show here. We'll go over a few things with the Blitz Lines, some of the games from last week, talk about what's coming up this week. Then we have the interview with Vinnie Portell. He is the newest addition to the Sarasota Herald-Tribune after being at the Venice Gondolier and the Charlotte Sun and all those newspapers down there. He is now the new high school sports beat writer at the Sarasota Herald-Tribune. We'll get him on here in just a few minutes. And then as we rock and roll here, we'll take our questions and from the fans in the live chat, and then we'll have our pick 6 for week number 1. 6 games and 6 big games in across the Southwest Florida region. But I think looking at the games here, Chris, that is on the pick 6, there's a few good ones, especially with the fact of national implications on the line here, especially not national ranking implications, I should say.
Oh yeah, you've got a lot of great games, not just in Southwest Florida, but across the entire state. Cardinal Mooney is one of them, that comes to mind. You got St. Thomas Aquinas coming up in South Florida, and you got St. John Bosco playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a who's who of national powered, and it's a who's who of Florida powered, all in one junction.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here as we get ready to roll in here, and we'll go into our Blitz Lines here for Southwest Florida here as we talk about it. One of the games I mentioned here from the preseason classics here was Venice and Gaston County. Gaston County made the trip down, not as loaded as they were once projected to be. Obviously, 8 players. They were declared ineligible at Gaston County, could play elsewhere, any other school in the state. It was a big shellacking. Venice rolling over 40 points there in that game. I believe the final score was 42-14 on that one. And but Mark Cannon says he's in the Blitz between the Blitz on the YouTube and on X. So we're glad that Mark Cannon is here watching on both ways on the show here. But Venice just easily handled Gaston County here, and I'm not surprised here. I know everybody saw the Florida Power Rankings Index rankings come out on Friday, and y'all saw Gaston County ranked pretty high. But again, that's based on analytical data going back. You got to have a starter here. Preseason rankings, starter last year's ranking, obviously last year's numbers. This year's schedule, kind of have to look forward into what's the schedule going to be like? Gaston County's tough schedule, tough there, but Venice laying down the hammer on Gaston County. And Venice, let's talk about Venice's schedule here for a moment, because honestly, Venice has got a gauntlet coming up here. I mean, they're going to be starting off the season here, Tampa Bay Tech, and then next week, I think, is the Miami Northwestern game. So, Tampa Bay Tech, that was a huge, big game. Now, that won't be on our pick 6 for Southwest Florida. That will be on our pick 6 later tonight for Tampa Bay, because obviously Venice is making the trip up to the Titans on Friday night. And again, a lot of great games here as we go rolling through this here. But some other teams that were getting kickoff classes in, like Naples, Sarasota, Riverview, those guys. But Chris, just kind of looking at this with Southwest Florida, what would you think there might be a chance for a team in this region to, based upon what we're hearing through the national rankings so far, that maybe in the hunt for a state championship? Because I think there's like a couple in my mind that might be in the hunt to make a title run here. But again, it's a matter of defeating the South Florida powers to be. Who do you think might be coming in mind here at this particular point as we get week 1 rolling here this week?
Maybe Venice. Maybe it depends on
Venice would be the outside of the South Florida subject. I mean, because think about it, they're defending state champs. They'd be the only one outside of that. I mean, because everybody is going to have to go through a South Florida gauntlet, I feel like.
Oh yeah, and not just South Florida. You got to go to the Central Florida Powered, and you also got to go to Tampa Bay as well. So we'll talk more about that with Vince in a few minutes. But
we'll talk about Vinny here. But yeah, what about Manatee? In my opinion, might have a chance. They almost came close to knocking St. Thomas Aquinas off. I feel like if there's a team that could do it, it's going to be Manatee that could do it. It's being able to get St. Thomas Aquinas. I mean, they came close last year in the state semifinals. I feel like they're going to be a team that could do it. And for just to kind of give you a preview of what I feel like is going to happen here, like especially Manatee, they're gonna play another state semifinalist in Buchholz. And Mark Cannon brings up Port Charlotte, and I agree Port Charlotte should make some noise here as well. I do believe that there was Patrick Obley of the Charlotte Sun said that they have made a little bit of a change with the schedule here in the last 24 hours. They actually got a 9th game back onto the schedule. I know they've had some little issues going on there with that, and I know First Baptist out of Naples dropped them, so that's kind of a bummer there that matchup's not happening. But all the changes that happened at First Baptist over the offseason, again, another Southwest Florida team we're pointing out here, led to some changes, and with First Baptist dropping that game against Port Charlotte, it took them a moment to find at least get back to 8 or 9 games, I should say, here. And then looking at Sarasota Booker, some people real quick here as we roll this, because we're going to shorten the Blitz Lines here so we can get Vinnie Portell on. Looking at this, Sarasota Booker kind of came in actually higher than Reigns, but that was a last-second change right at the last moment. when the final numbers were ran after the very, very final numbers were ran before the rankings were posted because of Reigns losing that game against the Miami Central. So it kind of actually jumped Booker above Reigns. But, I mean, Class 3A, I think for anybody in Class 3A, which is what Sarasota Booker is in, you're looking up to South Florida here in this situation, either be it Miami Northwestern or Miami Central this year.
Yeah, and again, it's not a matter of competing with them; it's a matter of staying in the game.
And we've seen that it's hard to stay in the game.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, and everything. But as we get through it, we're gonna the week 1 games as we get ready to roll here. Again, we'll feature 6 of what we feel like are going to be some of the 6 of the best games in Southwest Florida this week, and we'll bring up the forecast. We are actually kind of behind on running the full forecast. I did run the forecast on the games that we're going to have up. We'll have the full Florida Power Rankings Index forecast coming up here very late tonight into early tomorrow morning here, but we'll have the forecast on the 6 games here, and for most of them I agree with what the forecast is saying. Maybe depending on which game it is, we'll see. But I'm really saying, hey, Cardinal Mooney says hi. Yes, Cardinal Mooney. We will definitely be talking about Cardinal Mooney here this year as they look to try to go for their second state championship here in the last 3 seasons. But let's take a quick break here. We'll take a 2-minute break here. Bring Vinnie Portell on from the Sarasota Herald-Tribune and talk some high school football along Manatee, Sarasota counties, even Charlotte County a little bit as well as we roll along here. We'll be right back here on the Blitz here on 4HSfootball.com and the 4HSfootball.com social media platforms. We'll be right back.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Touchdown! Touchdown!
Juggled and caught!
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought, if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it, because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, there's a great chance that I can do it. The First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the Blitz here, the Southwest Florida edition here on FloridaHSFootball.com. And as I cut the music out prematurely there, we want to welcome in Vinnie Portell from the Sarasota Herald-Tribune. And he just started his first day at the newspaper yesterday. So congratulations on the new position, Vinnie. Glad to be able to talk to you. And I know this is a huge step up, more schools to cover outside of, the traditionals of Venice and Charlotte County areas. But, let's just kind of get right into it here as we roll along here, Vinny. And obviously we've got our usual suspects in Southwest Florida, especially in the Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte counties. I mean, Port Charlotte, obviously, Venice, obviously defending their state title, Manatee, coming within 3 points last year of getting to the state title game in 5A. I mean, Southwest Florida football this year is going to be locked and loaded. What are your takeaways so far, especially after the preseason classics? I know you're kind of getting settled in here, but what are your takeaways so far?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Josh. I appreciate it. I think it's like I look at it as a tier list, and I have Venice as like a 1A. I mean, you can't argue with what they've done. They won a state championship last year, and they lost a lot of pieces, but they also added a lot of pieces through transfer. 1B to me is Cardinal Mooney. They had a great year last year. They just ran into an unbelievable Coco passing attack in the region final, but they brought almost everybody back, and they're better this year. And then the second tier is like Port Charlotte and Booker, and I had Manatee there, but they were shut out in the kickoff classic. Former Herald-Tribune sports writer Doug Fernandez was there, and he said they looked really sloppy. Their quarterback couldn't get it going. They lost a lot of pieces from last year. So now I'm a little suspect on Manatee. They 3 points away from beating St. Thomas, and St. Thomas steamrolled Lakeland, so they're 3 points away from a state championship last year. So I was bullish on them, but now I'm questioning it.
Wow, that is interesting that that question. I think here's my question to you in this situation is do we put a lot of stock in what happened in the preseason classes, considering that formats can vary from game to game. Some we'll do 3 quarters varsity, 1 quarter JV. They may split it up between half JV, half varsity. I mean, it is in that situation. I mean, can we really take away a lot of this, considering, hey, it looked flat out there for Manatee in this situation, but, considering that they got St. John Bosco coming into town Friday night?
Typically I don't, but being shut out in it's a competitive game, right? Manatee and Booker are two of the top teams in the area. They're certainly playing to win that game. And, if it was a 14-10 game, I wouldn't take anything, but 0 really sticks out. And that's hard to ignore. But yeah, you're right. I mean, kickoff classics don't make and break seasons. We've seen teams have poor performances and rebound to have great seasons. But like you said, this week against St. John Bosco, I mean, I think that's going to really either solidify it or, they have a chance to bounce back and prove that was just a fluke.
Absolutely. Chris, what's on your mind here to ask Vinny here as we roll along here with our interview portion here on the Blitz?
Yeah, congratulations, Vinny, on the new position. One of the things I've got to ask you is, what are some of these underrated teams in the region that you think will make some noise that we haven't heard from?
That's a good question. Riverview, I think, is a little bit slept on. Everybody looks at the fact that they were 4-6 last year. They played, I think, the 8th hardest schedule in their class, and they're a lot better this year. I mean, again, you don't want to take too much out of the kickoff classic, but they took Port Charlotte to double overtime, scored 49 points. Last year, they lost all of their senior leaders to transfer. This year, they lost 1, but they also gained transfers and kept a lot of their talent in-house. They have a new coach. Seems like, the quarterback situation is as good as it's been in a long time. So they're a sleeper to me. Parish Community is a little bit of a sleeper. People don't really talk about them too much. This because of how many good teams are in the area. But, they year after year put together winning products in the field. They're a growing program. Their numbers are swelling year after year. Beyond that, I look to Southeast, not this year, but a team to keep an eye on in years to come. Kurt Bradley built a great program at Braden River, and I believe that he will do the same at Southeast, especially the talent pool up that way.
No, absolutely. And I got a question. Have you heard from a lot of coaches about being able to really get a full good day's worth of practice in? It seems like there's between the wet bulb and the storms that are firing off. It seems almost on a daily occurrence as it is typical Florida. Do you feel like that they're finding it more difficult to get these practices in before having to play the actual real game, which obviously now we're here knocking on the door now?
I mean, it's kind of the same story every year. It's always like this time of the year. I will say teams have adjusted a lot. Most teams are practicing very early in the morning this year, more so than they have in past years, and they're able to get those practices in that way. Of course, though, I've tried to go out to practices, and it's been lightning delays and just, scrap practices and scrimmages, but it's nothing new. I think they've even gotten more in this year, like I said, because of the adjustment to the early mornings.
No, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, I know y'all touched briefly on IMG, but I mean, IMG Academy, which is interesting. They've renamed all their teams this year: IMG Academy National, Junior National, and State. I mean, do you feel like do you feel like Venice might, if there's any team in the state, it's Venice that they'll be this year that can put an L on them?
Oh yeah, I mean, Venice almost beat them last year, but it's hard to say. I mean, how Venice looks compared this year to last year, they lost so many of their key players. This is going to take time for those new players to gel. But of course, I mean, if they lost 20-16 to them last year, who's going to say that they can't beat them? I mean, it's not crazy to think.
I agree, and hopefully it's not the Venice giving up 40+ points a game the first 5 games like it was last year, because I know that was a big thing. But all of a sudden they tightened it down, and then after that it was all she wrote from there.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. Coach Peacock talked about the fact that really bothered the defensive coaching staff, and they've made a lot of adjustments this year. I will say the back end of their defense is a little suspect. They have a deep pool of players to choose from, but that's kind of not always the best thing when you have a lot of guys, but you're not sure about who those top guys are that you're going to count on. So I'm interested to see how it works when they run into a high octane passing attack and to see which guys step up there. But up front, I mean, they're pretty loaded. They got Cole Weatherington back at linebacker, Ashari Charles, everybody knows him, Miami commit up front. But the back end is yet to be seen how good that is.
No, absolutely, and everything. Got Chris, any final thoughts or any questions you want to ask Vinny before we wrap this part up on the interview?
Yeah. What have you learned about St. John Bosco in the time that since they're coming down to the area?
To be honest, I haven't really looked too much into it yet. Covering Riverview Naples this week, but I mean, I think it's just more about Manatee at this point than St. John Bosco. Even if they lose, they can't afford another performance like last week, regardless of the fact that St. John Bosco is a national power and it's a lot to ask. But, I guess we'll see on Friday.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Vinny, definitely appreciate you taking the time here with us here for the interview here on the Blitz, the Southwest Florida edition and everything. And we'll be keeping an eye out on your tweets on Friday night. You can follow X at that Vinnie Portell on X. That'll be where the updates are coming at. So we appreciate you being able to join us here. Thank you so much, Vinny.
Yep, no problem. Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Vinnie Portell from the Sarasota Herald-Tribune. And we're going to take a quick about 2-minute timeout here, and then we're going to get into our fan questions real quick and just comments as well. We've got the chat firing off tonight as well. We're getting ready for week 1, and then we will have the pick 6 coming up here for you, a full pick 6 for every show this week. We'll be right back here on the Blitz Southwest Florida edition. I'm Joshua Wilson. That's Christopher Light. Be back in a moment.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with a free ScoreStream mobile app. Download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Welcome back here to the Blitz here, Southwest Florida edition here as we roll along here. And Chris, oh man, it is really, really, I will say this here as we roll along here with everything. We've got some comments. The comments are firing off here. And, looking at the comments here, Mark Cannon is saying, I appreciate that the Sarasota Herald-Tribune has never wavered in covering prep sports, and that is obviously good because we do like to make sure that, even the newspapers are still covering prep sports. I know that has been an issue in recent years where things have gone downhill in terms of the coverage that's come out of newspapers, but Sarasota Herald-Tribune still keeping it going with everything on that one. But Emery Smith says, Curtis Williams told me about the Cat Kickoff Classic game against Riverview. Sounded exciting and thrilling. I believe Port Charlotte plays Island Coast this weekend. You are correct on that. I did see that on the schedule. By the way, you can go to FloridaHSFootball.com and you can see the schedules for all 8 regions for this week, and we will have the FPRI forecast. Usually we'll be getting that on Mondays, but just a lot going on. And there were some nuts and bolts of a SSA game that was played last night, and we had to wait for that result to come in so that way we could run all the calculations at once, because once I drop all the games into the forecast system, it'll populate it just like that. So But some other comments here, Chris, that is in the chat. I mean, the chat is firing off tonight compared to last week.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's excited for football season. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, boy, we all ready.
I'm fired up. Are you fired up? Is anybody else? Hey, come on.
Yeah.
Let me know if you're fired up in the chat. Come on. Let me know if you're all fired up in the chat. Well, you know what? It is about that time. You know what about that time it is? It is time for the Pick Six, and I'm going to bring up a nice little graphic here on screen for y'all to see here for just a moment. Let's see. Reno is saying, Reno's joining the chat. Hello. He's like, let's go. I'm fired up about high school football. Yeah, Zachary Hallback. Hey, how you doing? Glad you're here. All right, here we go. I'm going to bring this up here on the screen here. Hopefully it'll work with me. All right. As you can see here, we have the Pick Six games that you're going to see that we're going to bring up here, but we have a graphic as well to bring up as you see that we're going to be talking about these games. By the way, my understanding is the ING Hoover game is actually Thursday night now, so when I made the graphic, it said Friday, and it actually is supposed to say week one on that thing, and I forgot to change it to week one. So that is my bad on that one. It's not week 0, it's week 1, by the way, people. So anyways, our first game on the Pick Six as we roll along here, well, it is Estero at Riverdale. Chris, who are you thinking in this one? And I do have Reno's picks as well here as we roll along here.
I like Riverdale. It's going to be a real interesting game, opening game for both teams. But Riverdale, a much better team in my opinion.
No, absolutely. I'm leaning towards Riverdale as well as we bring up the line here from the Florida Power Ranking Index, and it's indicating Riverdale 15 over Estero, and your win probability, which will, by the way, is part of the premium season ticket subscription, either yearly or monthly. Go to 4hsfootball.com/season ticket to get your subscription today. You'll be able to see all the win probabilities when we put out the entire forecast as well here. That is premium content, but we bring out the win probabilities on these 6 games in each of the shows, so that way y'all can see just exactly what we're posting behind that paywall, and you can see more games that way by doing this. All right, the win probability here for this game in particular is indicating Riverdale a 91% chance of winning. By the way, we will have a win total for all of our games from week 0 and week 1 next week on the Blitz, and we will calculate and we will see how the computer is doing on these games as well. And it looks like a lot of people are agreeing on Riverdale. And I have Reno's pick, by the way. He's going to Estero. He's going for the underdog here. So I am really interesting. But Estero's been a playoff team down there in Southwest Florida the last few years, so I could understand why. You know, in Riverdale they've had their ups and downs, but Riverdale had a really good season last year, so that's where I'm kind of leaning on Riverdale on this particular game. All right. As we roll into our second game of the Pick Six, Charlotte, the Terrapins, those fighting Terrapins at Gulf Coast. And Chris, who are you liking here? Because I have a particular team I like for this particular game, and I feel like it's after the interview last week, I'm even more sold on this particular team.
Yeah, I am too, and I think Charlotte, they are by far. I think they're going to be a much better team than people think they do this year. I think they're going to be a sleeper in the region.
No, absolutely. Tarpons. Tarpons. I know. I said it wrong. It's Tarpons. It's not Terrapins. I'm saying Tarpons. I said it so fast. Mark Cannon's calling me out. I love it. All right, as we roll along here, I'm going Charlotte. And by the way, Reno is going Charlotte. So we are 3 for 3. Really, you'll be 0 for 3 or 3 for 3 on this particular game. But Charlotte, as we bring up the line here, Charlotte 8 over Gulf Coast, giving them a 77% chance of winning this game. Gulf Coast 23%. And then in the chat, Zachary Hallback is going Charlotte. I know Emery Smith going Riverdale in that previous pick, and Zachary Hallback's going Riverdale as well. All right, as we roll along here, as we go to this game number 3, True North at Cardinal Mooney. Trying to look for for better quality games. I feel like this is a quality game. It's just that there's going to be a separation here. It's a 1A school versus a 2A school from South Florida versus Southwest Florida here. Cardinal Mooney got a lot of talent. Yes, they lost a couple of kids over the summer due to transfers, but at the end of the day, I feel like this is going to be a interesting game, an interesting challenge here for True North than I feel like Cardinal Mooney. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, True North coming to Cardinal Mooney. I don't see them competing past the second quarter. So Cardinal Mooney for me.
I'm going Cardinal Mooney as well on this one here. It's and then Reno's pick is obviously pick is Mooney as well. So we're all sticking with Cardinal Mooney here as well. Coach Molina is going Cardinal Mooney. Taking Charlotte by 14 plus, and then Emery Smith says Charlotte Terrapins slight favorite over Gulf Coast, and so a lot of agreements in the picks this week here, Chris.
It doesn't surprise me.
No, absolutely. All right, as we get into the national games, where we have the interstate games, Booker is at Auburn, Alabama. Yes, those Auburn, Alabama Tigers of Auburn High School in the same city as Auburn, where you say War Eagles. So there you go, everybody. Yes, that Auburn, Alabama. This is going to be an interesting game. Booker, new head coach in position, Scotty Littles is out this year. But Booker ranked number 2 in Class 3A according to the Florida Power Rankings Index. But this may be a bit of a road trip here, a little bit of a challenge here for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, good. They're traveling to Alabama, and I do think that Auburn is a better team, but I think Booker can pull off the upset.
Well, the FPRI forecast is calling Auburn 13 over Booker here, and Auburn giving Auburn an 88% chance of winning. Booker, hey, over 10% chance. There's a chance here, and some of the chat are going Auburn. Auburn. You're going Booker. Part of me, I'm taking Auburn here just because I feel like the long road trip is going to be a factor here for Booker more so than not, but. You got company with Reno, and Reno is taking Booker in this situation here. So as we roll along here, and we've got Zachary Hallback that's going Booker go to Alabama and win games. So all right, we're going to be kind of split here. That's to be expected. It's week 1. We'll find out here as we roll along here with the pick 6. All right. Our game number 5, ING Academy National at Hoover, Alabama. Hoover usually has fielded plenty of good teams, but in the previous 3 meetings between ING Academy National and Hoover, what is the record? ING Academy National 3, Hoover 0. And I think that's probably all we really want to know, right?
Yeah. And Hoover did a very good program, and looked like they're back. They're starting to get back on the ride on the national scene. But I don't think they're going to be much of a factor for IMG. IMG is going to roll.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I feel like ING is going to roll. The Florida Power Rankings Index forecast is calling for ING to win by 26. And as Reno said, ING same, but they are really, really good. So, and ING Academy National at 98% win probability. Hoover only a 2% chance. As Coach Molina dropping in there 3+ touchdowns, and Emory Smith is going with Auburn over Sarasota Booker, and Emory is going ING over Hoover as well. All right. Let's roll along to our last game as we're starting to run out of time. It is St. John Bosco, California at Manatee. So there at Joe Canaan Field at Hawkins Stadium. Here we go. One of the national powers. And Chris, what are you thinking here as we'll look at what Reno has on the forecast? Because, after we're talking to Vinnie Portell, I do worry about what's going on with Manatee.
Mad prop to Manatee for taking this game. But I don't think they're going to be much of a factor in this game. I think St. John Bosco, one of the best teams in the country. So St. John Bosco by a lot.
Yeah. So, honestly, I'll tell you this. My factor in this one is I feel like after seeing that St. John Bosco, I'm really just, I want to take the in-state team. I want to take Manatee. It's just really, really hard to really put it down on this one. Coach Molina thinks Manatee falls short. Booker fans need to know that Auburn is in a partially dry county. Important for tailgate. Oh, goodness gracious. This is not that kind of show here, Mark. Oh, man. I'm glad the humor is back. I'm glad the chat is fired off. Let's show these Cali boys what we got here in Florida. Oh, Reno wants to go Manatee, by the way. But I'm going St. John Bosco as the forecast is calling for St. John Bosco 8 over Manatee, giving Bosco a 77% chance of winning that game. Only giving Manatee 22%, but 22. It actually probably should be 23% if I'm looking at it correctly. It's actually 23%, but still over 20%. We'll see. We'll see. I think a lot of people in the chat are going for Bosco as well. So here we go. That is it right there for the pick six, my man. And it is time to wrap this thing up and get ready for our next show, which is the Space and Treasure Coast Blitz here in the next 5 minutes. And we'll have Jeff Fisher from High School Football America on to join us for that particular show to talk some national rankings. Oh, you there, Chris?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Sorry, I did the segue for you to be able to think. All right, for myself, Joshua Wilson, that's Christopher Like. We'll be back here in a few minutes here for the Space and Treasure Coast Blitz here on FloorHSFootball.com and the FloorHSFootball.com social media handle. So I see the chat. We'll hope the chat is fired up for the Space and Treasure Coast Blitz as we come up here. We'll see you here in a few minutes.